We're filming.
What?
We're here today to do some floor training. We showed some of you guys before, and we're gonna talk about the whole system. And what I mean by that is, as you guys remember last time, I like to talk about the good and the bad, so there's a sense of what this will actually do. And Orchid showed it earlier. We're going to be stripping floors without using stripper. And the idea behind this is that in your traditional floor stripping, you've got a chemical that goes on the ground, the wax gets emulsified, it gets slippery, you then bring a floor machine in, you scrub it, then you pick it up, rinse, 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 your floor looks this way. That's the quick solution. It's great that these floors are perfect and these are terrible, but it's good and it's bad because you guys got stripper all here, which is gonna impact how this works because you'll see sections of the floor and how it works. To start, this is a big vibrating sander. That's all this thing does. 170 pounds, it has weights. This is the floor stripping pad. Essentially, this is a piece of sandpaper.
How many grid know that?
You know, I don't know the grid. That's a good question. Now, when we were here last time, this is the side we used. This is dried floor finish that if we take it under water, it'll rinse out. It's powder. Unlike doing what we've got here where it emulsifies it, we're gonna sand it. So what that means is that when we look at the floor, if this is the piece of tile, we're gonna sand all the wax all the way down to here. We are not going to do what this did and go into the tile and pull it out. And the reason why is, as we showed before, the goal is to have the color of the floor correct. And the color means that once we're finished, if these two match each other, it doesn't matter that there's still wax in the floor because the floor, it's dirt-free into the tile. The benefits behind this is the floor is never slippery. Any man, woman, or child, even though you don't hire children, can run this machine. The training is instantaneous. We go at only one speed. If you run into a floor, like we're gonna run into here is all this stripper, this may sand out, it may not, but it's an idea to show you what to do. As I said a minute or two ago, the worst case scenario is this floor may need to be stripped one more time to get to this. But after that, under normal circumstances in here, you're not gonna get enough wear to get dirt into the floor. Would you agree? Okay. So that's the premise behind what we're doing. Then the other part of this machine is we're gonna go into the bathroom, which we'll video too, and we're gonna clean tile with it. So without any further ado, the goal behind this is I'm just gonna take a section, actually I'll do it right here and move over to here, but this is the worst case because this is all dried wax. I don't know if it'll work, I've never done this before on a floor that's been stripped previously.
Do you want to fail or do you want to do it right?
No, I'm going to go into where the floor is not stripped and in the floor that's stripped. And again, I say this because you'll never run into a situation like this. I've never run into it using the machine, so I'm curious to see how it'll work.
Do you want me to pour some?
Yeah, well, let me get this on. And then a cord, a plug.
This is plug right over here.
Perfect.
Just lay the machine on top of.
Lay the machine on the pad. The pad, thank you. The pad is a piece of sandpaper, 500 square feet per side. So once you get 500 square feet, you flip it, you throw it out. There is no rinsing like you would have with a standard pad.
Do I just put the pad on there, Chris? With just the machine, or do I need to check other things?
Well,
On the
interesting.
machine.
No, on the machine, no. The interesting thing is, there are some floors, and I'm sure you guys have, that have waves. That the concrete,
Right.
well, in that particular case, this is a skinny white pad. You can put a thick white pad on the bottom that will allow you to get into those dips and depressions. So, whereas normally with a floor machine, thank you, your black pad is super stiff, so it doesn't move a lot. This will allow you to get into those depressions.
So it needs the extra white pad and then the maroon pad?
Correct. If you have floors, again, the art of floor care, and I use the art is, we just can't come in and do it. We have to look at the floor and go, what's happening? And that's why I said, this floor is terrible for what we're doing. But I want to see how it works from my perspective Over here, this is what we're walking into. And we understand that's what the results are gonna be. And again, the difference in the color is great because we hope that we get to the same color with this method. Again, if we don't, then we strip it, but we'll cross that bridge. Put this down. We want to use as little water as possible. And then what I'm going to do, unlike a floor machine that throws it, I'm going to move this water around. When I use this, I'm going to go up, back 1, up, back 2, up, back 3. That's it. I can go further, but typically, based on all the time we've done this, should remove what we've got. We showed it before it did it, so I'm going to do the exact same thing. And when I do this, with the floor machine, you're moving around this way. I want to go with the tile so I know exactly where I am. We've now stripped the floor. Vanna, can you bring over the... No, I'm gonna put it in the machine. This little machine is a tiny automatic scrubber. So this is going to, thank you. Let me know when you can see the wall.
It's like an electric mop.
Yes, thank you.
I can see it.
We saw it. It's your polo shirt. Slacks.
The next inventor.
So now,
So this one is, so you gotta charge it, it's battery.
yeah, this is battery powered.
So you put water inside there?
Yes.
Okay.
You put clean water in there, you can put a little neutral detergent to rinse it, but remember, what we've done is, this is dust now. There's nothing toxic, there's nothing there, and all I'm gonna do now is rinse it.
So that area with the little circle
Like
part
a
right
riding
there,
wall.
it looked like it was trying to come up.
Yes.
Would you still go back over it or no?
That's what we're gonna talk about.
Okay.
This is, no, you are perfect, because like I said, I've never done this before. You can see how the colors
You
react.
don't say you never, the way.
I've never done it
Okay.
with that. Well, I've done this 100.
Mop right here? What's this stuff, mop right here?
Yep.
Mop?
This is a mop.
Okay.
So instead of having a bucket and a wringer, a wet dry vacuum, this little guy is gonna get it ready to wax.
Okay.
All I'm waiting for is a little water to get on the ground and it's sucked up. Eventually. There we go. So now you can see what we're putting out. So now, we've picked everything up. We're gonna let this dry.
32 to 2? Oh.
And if we did the whole room, we're ready to lay floor finish. We don't need to do anything else because we've rinsed it and removed everything else. Now you can walk on it, do everything you want. We didn't pre-dust mop, we didn't pre-sweep. These little lines are stuff that if you look here, you can see in the squeegee, all the little schmutzy things we picked up. No different than an automatic scrubber down a hallway. And because we've not introduced stripper into it, there's nothing left other than dust.
Should have been here the first time. I've been fighting, busting my ass.
Okay. So,
So that's good,
so,
right?
questions?
Why haven't they been doing it this way?
Right.
Right?
And
I mean, I see a difference, but not really. And this is just my opinion.
this is what we want to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, I see where it's kind of hit and missing. So I'm trying to just wait to the finished product to see.
This is, as I've said before, I did this on purpose next to where it is because I've never done it.
So my question is, what kind of floors is initially you do it on? Is it?
No, this floor, sorry. Let me be
You
crystal
keep
clear.
saying that, yeah.
You see this here?
The dried up stripper?
Yes, I've never used this machine where this is present.
Oh.
I've done hundreds of demonstrations right here.
On a clear
Yeah.
floor.
On a floor that
On a
doesn't have.
dirty floor.
Sorry, Orchid, you're absolutely
He
correct.
keeps telling them that you've never done this,
No,
and it's
I've
like,
done
wait,
it,
he's
though.
like on the TV, on the
Cause you know,
videos.
sometimes I know it can be just like brand new floors in buildings that never had nothing on them, and I'm trying to figure out
No,
if that's.
this floor right here, where there was no stripper.
Right. Well, so all of our floors have
No, no.
stripper and wax on them.
I've done it terribly.
He's trying to say where there's none of that.
Lick,
like-
build up, dried up, build up.
Dried up stripper.
Okay.
You guys stripped the floor, pulled everything over to here. It emulsified all that wax and turned it into a big piece of plastic again. This part of the floor, because it hasn't been stripped, it's stripping it like it would strip it.
But Miss Octavia, Octavia, right? Octavia, sorry. So you're still not convinced, is what you're trying to say, right?
I get what she's saying. She basically was, if I'm not mistaken, because that was
But
that was
can you
wax
see
right
right
there.
here? Can you see right here
Yeah, I
the
see
difference?
that.
Uh-huh, yeah.
it could be just because I'm used to that way, maybe, that's probably why it's not really,
Well, this is what we wanna talk about. It's perfect. This floor here, you've pulled every bit of wax out of the floor. So this is as dry as it can be.
right.
Versus clean, yeah.
So when I look at these two floors, if I was to, and I apologize, and I'll continue to apologize for confusing.
No, it's okay.
When I get this wet, of course it's pooling up. The goal is to have Did you burnish this?
No.
It shouldn't beat up like this, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
The goal is to have the color when the floor is wet,
Mhm.
the same color on both sides. That's what I was trying to illustrate.
Right.
It's miserably failing.
No, it's not that, I mean, it's trial and error.
But the idea behind this is that, to me, this section here is very similar. I'm not gonna say exact as that.
Mhm.
And this floor, because of the coloring of it,
Mhm.
I will gladly do it again, because there is a lot of wax on this floor.
Yeah, so like you can see right from here, this is yellow and this is a non.
Absolutely. And
That's
this
how
is,
you wanted to see it, right? That's what your
I mean, well,
expectation is.
Just coming from assumption, I would think when we're talking about stripping or scrubbing the floor, for the most part, even when we scrub a floor, it's almost to that color. Now, my thing is maybe it's not going as deep into the flooring, and that's probably why it's not getting as white as it is on that side. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not saying it's not getting it clean, because once you throw wax on it, it might all blend in anyway. But
and that's where we wanna go. And my knuckleheadedness of trying to strip this stuff, I confuse things.
I mean, it's not confusing, because
Well, but
it's
I
gonna
created
work
two
anyway.
issues. You're looking at this, and then, because I'm looking at this part of the floor and this part of the floor, and they look very similar to me. But I wanna ask you guys, I don't wanna say as a salesperson, as a dog in this fight, when we did last time. Okay, so if these floors didn't look the same, let's go to the worst case scenario.
Mhm.
You gotta strip it. The best case scenario, which we happened to have last time, and in parts of this floor, is it came out correctly. The purpose behind this is that the goal, the hope, is that with this machine, we can get the floors much safely or stripped.
My question is, so how many coats, and I'm not trying to give you a hard time, I promise you I'm not.
Oh, no, that's what I'm here for.
That's-
Yeah, it's your machine, we're not trying to sell
Yeah,
anything.
by the way, you guys own this.
Yeah, it's like, we are not selling anything.
So at this point with that, on a straight cross path of one go round, how many coats of wax is it taking off at a time?
One coat per pass.
So that
Again,
would be the problem.
in general, in general.
So, but here,
Like,
you would have hit the machine this way as well, correct?
No, well, so, because of the way this floor is looking,
You know, cause we do have a lot of coat of wax on these floors, so I'm just curious.
Some of these stores can have up to 6 coats. of wax.
Yeah.
right, no, I'm with you entirely, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do it again.
And that was gonna be my next question. If you see that it's not
To
how
your-
you
to
want
your-
it to be, can you
correct.
go back over it?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
You can do this as many times as you want.
Okay, see, that's where I was confused, because it said 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, so that pad wear out.
Until
Well, no.
the pad wears out, you're pulling it out.
It's, in doing all these demos a number of times, this is rare that I have to go over it a second time, but
Because you didn't have to do that when you did it.
the other, yeah,
But talk about also that, Chris, talk about that because this is going to be hopefully a process that's gonna eventually be used, that the first time around is gonna take longer, and then eventually when you get next time, that floor needs to be redone, you're just gonna do a 1-2 pass with this machine and ready to put more floor in. So the taking it down to 0 is not down to like a two with this machine and then getting out of the clipper, just putting one foot and out, right? And then the floor looks good. Versus the way most people think it is, what you say is for the guys.
If you scrub the floor 3 times,
I mean, no, it's the same, it's not having the same difference.
Right?
Because it's now that he's going back over it, it's a big difference now. You know, so that's why the question came up on how many classes you still have to go through to get the wax. Like how many coaches picking up over each class. So you would have to, you don't know.
So maybe this first time will take you like
All
four,
the way,
right?
yeah.
And then next time, you know it's not,
Right.
because, like, you're gonna just. Now you can see how we were over there with the, like, and then how this, you see the wax right here. It's all white, and not the wax is coming out, but it's not gooey, you're not gonna slip, you don't have to clean or wet dry back. You just grab the Karma and you hit it, right there, now it's
As
all.
and I want you guys, there's no, we're not slipping around, and I don't have the best shoes in the world.
Right.
So when you do this, and this is how dry I want it.
You wanna stand on it?
Oh, no, it's
Yeah.
fine.
So compared to a stripped floor, or a floor with stripper,
yeah, not even close.
the first time we do any floor, you guys said it, we're experimenting on how it's gonna work. In the old days, on floor stripping, we would do the same thing with the stripper. Do we do a little less, do we do a little more? It doesn't change here, and the idea is, if it doesn't come up, then we know we have to use stripper, then we go straight to stripper. As I've done with other districts and other schools, to do this floor, generally, when you do this floor, you lay down your stripper, how long do you wait?
10
10 to 12 minutes.
Okay, 10 to 12 minutes. Then you scrub it. Let's assume that the same amount of time. Then you pick it up. How many times do you rinse it? Twice. And you're doing it with a regular mop and a wet dry? Okay. When looking at this, I've always said, because you guys own this, I would rather strip the whole floor with this than if you have a whole system. It's gonna be faster and easier, and then come back and strip what you need to strip. Because the whole floor, as we're seeing it now, we're getting a closer look. Now, this floor, because it was stripped all the way down, is always gonna look brighter, because we pulled it all the way down.
So with this machine, can you use it with stripper or no?
Okay? Can you?
Yeah.
Yes. Do we recommend it? No. Now, it's much easier than a regular sewing machine. The difficulty is on the bottom of this machine. And this is the only reason from my point of view why you wouldn't, is this is a piece of Velcro. If you goop this up with stripper, the stripper is gonna try to remove that adhesive, which is gonna pull off the Velcro.
Yep.
I don't want that to happen. Now, the way we did it here, I've had other districts where there's a guy or gal who is very well trained, who uses stripper just like I put it down, so there's not enough Because this is all dry, this thing is bone dry. So, yes, you could, but the risk is that it costs about $500 to get this thing fixed, because it's just a floor machine that does it. Make sense? So that's why I don't like to do it. Again, the floor care is an art. You guys come in, you take a look at it. As we've scrubbed it a second time, it's brightened up. I would contend, put wax, they're gonna be similar. But if this floor is not, then you strip it out. But you're still gonna be able to, if somebody had a this and then had a that, you're still gonna get through your whole floor much faster and safer. And then when you come back, you say, okay, I got areas to do it. The floor seems to be repairing, so it isn't ruined, it isn't stained, because that's what I talked about when we were here last time. I deal with LA Unified, and they've got lots of floors that are stained but ruined. The soil's gone all the way down. These stripped out, awesome. So if you do the whole floor, and then I say mop it, they don't look the same, strip it. Then when you come back, if you're stripping every year, then you're able to move to this with no problem at all. It's a great example of what extremes look like, because that's part of what we run into here. Questions? Does it make, because the goal is, because you guys own these things, we didn't sell them to you, we're not trying to sell you anything. The goal is to get to this because it's much safer. Stripper is not healthy to breathe, it's unsafe, just about everybody's fallen, so we're trying to get to a safer way to go. But you guys using it, the floor that we did last time, looked perfect. This one didn't. This one didn't. It's great because this is an example of how it works. It doesn't work, put your stripper down, but when you go to strip this, if you use a conventional floor machine, much less stripper, much quicker time, because you removed a majority of the junk. And this little machine we introduced because we would only use this for this method because I know what stripper would do. This is only to be used with this method now. This is a battery operated mop. That's what we call this. It's a Karma 360. Rotating brushes, squeegee, the tank that we put the water in. You can put your enzyme cleaner for the bathroom floors. You can use your neutral cleaner. This is not a heavy duty machine. This is the heaviest this machine is going to operate is here. Because where we're going to go next is in the bathroom, because this exact same machine, we're going to go over how you can do, sorry, let me stop for a second. This little guy is a doodle bug. That is battery powered. Would you mind holding that? Thank you. Bzzz. Not yet.
I already know one.
How did you break that down to go?
Oh, how it's sitting?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's ours too?
No, this is something that we talked to Bruce about, that you guys.
quoted him, sent him a quote.
Yeah, because, I mean, as I've done tons of floors, you can use a wet dry vacuum and a mop bucket and wringer, but with this, you speed it up by about 30%, because, as you can see, once you dust mop and do everything, once that's dry, you wax. There's no having to come back with anything. And when you do your corners and edges, this thing will pretty much pick up except for the exact edges, and that's where you might get part of the towels come in and just pick it up.
There's a plug right here.
Pardon me?
There's a.
Okay, just say.
Are you gonna plug that microwave?
Everybody's here.
Microphone.
Unplug the phone machine, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hmm?
He don't have to.
So this is the
You already received it?
electric version
He said it Monday. But that's why I'm gonna walk out.
of what this did. And all you're gonna do is take this exact same piece of sandpaper with water and go against the edges and corner. Now this one, if you needed to use stripper, it's a little bit easier, it's not as risky. And the whole idea behind this is obviously we're getting away from hand doing it. And with also this one thing you notice is it doesn't throw anything. There's no water being thrown against the edges.
Baseboards.
Pardon me?
Never go against the baseboards.
Correct. So after we strip it the last time, even when we come and strip, everything is wiped down because it's all dust. This little machine also, we're gonna show, to do underneath. This is an AstroTurf pad, you don't want to touch it, but it gets in all the nooks and crannies.
And then there's also a skate, if you put the skate on there, it can flip it to where you can clean the baseboard.
Yeah, it has a skate, it's a piece of metal that's got wheels that literally go across the floor. You're not doing, it's super easy to do, that's what we've given Bruce. The last part of the equation, which has been so far, you guys have them, which is awesome. You guys have got the microfiber. This is a bigger version. This holds a gallon. So the purpose behind this is that you're able to come in, seal it up like you normally do with the ones you have over there, but you're refilling those every 30 seconds. With a gallon, you're gonna get a lot. And you're already doing this now. When you're finished, you can put whatever wax is left back in the bucket, back in the box, back in the gallon. This just gives you more square footage. And you guys know this, so I don't need to tell you more, but that's what.
And it's sturdier, right? And that.
Oh, yeah, no, you've got the same mechanism. It's got a pinch mechanism, just like those do, that when you rinse this out, you gotta make sure you clear the floor finisher, it'll dry pinch, then you have to open it up. But the concept behind what we're doing is trying to make stripping safer. Get the same job. As you can see, this is drying up. They're getting closer. That's part of what we're doing, right? Okay, doing all this other stuff. So what I'll do is I will stop this.